It's time now for our regular K-Sports updates, and for that, we welcome back our sportscaster, Jason Lee, into the studio. Hello, Jason. Welcome back.
Jason.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon indeed. I feel like the weather these days, especially in the afternoon, is great to do some outdoor activities.
Absolutely.
And I heard both of you also did some sports over the long weekend.
Right. Yeah, I played some ice hockey like I do throughout the week, but I played on Sunday. And also, I was teaching my younger son how to ride a bicycle two-wheel. So I was kind of running beside him as he's trying to pedal. So that was quite the workout as well.
Okay. Well, I went hiking over the weekend.
I heard.
And Bella, you also did some exercise.
Yes, I did a last-minute. Summer is here. Last-minute workout to, get a little bit less fat worked out for the summer body. But
summer body.
Can't walk anymore though. I worked out my thighs.
All right. Now, I think the weather is also great for the big sports stars right now, especially, for instance, football. And Jason, why don't you give us a taste of what you have for us today?
I'm not actually much of a taster. I like to take big bites. But yeah, let's talk a little bit of sports. I can tell you that, of course, the World Cup is just less than 3 weeks away now, especially for Korea's first match. So I'll update what's going on with the national team. Also, a North Korean soccer team won the Asian Women's Championship League final, which was right here in Suwon. Lots of baseball news. Lee Jung-hoo is injured. Ko Suk is on a roll. And I'm going to introduce some names that one day you'll know better. And also, Kim Si-woo got a taste, speaking of which, of another PGA championship, but couldn't take the final bite, let's say.
Okay, well, thanks for the appetizer. It all sounds so delicious, but let's jump into our main course menu today. I think that should be the national football team, and I was super excited when they made that revelation of who's going to be on the team.
Right.
But Jason, what do you think about Myung-Bo's decision?
Always a fun time of year to take a look at the roster of the national team squad. Obviously, very important because the World Cup is coming up. The first thing I noticed about this squad is that, there's fewer and fewer domestic-based players on the team. Just 6 players who play in the K-League, and 2 of them are goalkeepers, along with 2 defenders and 2 midfielders as well. So it's clear what Myung-Bo prefers, and at the same time, it shows just how many Koreans are also playing around the world, and especially in Europe. Half the team will be playing their first World Cup ever, and among them will be Jens Kastrup, who has a Korean mother, but will be the first biracial player named to the World Cup for Korea, as he has a Korean father. Actually, was born in Germany as well. A German father. He plays in Germany as well. I think the most interesting pick was Gangwon FC defender Lee Gi-hyuk, who has only played a single game for the senior national team so far. So he's just 25 years old, but has versatility. He's a left-footed center back who can also man the wing. He can also play a defensive midfield position. So an interesting selection, very inexperienced. He is not the youngest on the team, though. That distinction actually goes to Kastrup, as well as Bae-Juno, who of course plays for Stoke City as a midfielder. So I think the team is pretty experienced all in all. The youngest player being 22 is actually pretty old for a World Cup squad. They're currently in training camp in Salt Lake City, Utah. And the reason for that is their first game against the Czech Republic is in Guadalajara, Mexico, which is high elevation. So you want to get your fitness at a high level. So they're training in Salt Lake City, which also is elevated. They're going to have 2 exhibition games coming up this Saturday, as well as June the 3rd against El Salvador and Trinidad and Tobago, respectively. So these hopefully will get them prepared for that first game.
Okay, lots to look forward to.
I know, super excited. And I saw all 3 games are during the daytime, so we could definitely talk about the games for our show, right?
Yeah, in the morning for us.
Yes, morning for us,
Yeah.
yes. And speaking of football, we want to talk about women's football. And North Korean women's soccer team, Naegohyang, we actually talked about them without you, Jason, in our report with our reporter Park Gun-woo. We had a report on it. But they took the a win for the Asian Women's Champions League. So please fill us in a little bit more.
So you guys were secretly snacking on sports without me. There we go. Okay.
But it was a semifinal. You're going to talk about the final.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I get the good stuff, right? The bulk of the meat. Well, yeah, the North Korean team, Naegohyang, as mentioned, beat Tokyo Verde Blaze out 1-0 in the final. And that was right here in Suwon Stadium, just 30 kilometers south of Seoul, where the entire tournament is being hosted. It would have been great to have an all-Korean final, as you guys mentioned, but the champs actually beat the South Korean host Suwon FC women 2-1 in the semifinals last Wednesday. And I've got to say, you know, there can be, let's say, political tension between countries around the world. But when it comes to sports, it's nice to see them kind of just forget about all that stuff. And in the spirit of sports, just be able to compete as sort of like friends. And, you know, there were hundreds of South Koreans who were actually cheering for the North Korean team in the finals. So good to see that, you know, let down the guard. Let's have fun. This is sports.
That was exactly what I was thinking of, too. I also saw how there were those hundreds of South Korean audiences cheering for North Korea, in this case, a different Korea against Japan game, whereas we usually see more of South Korea against Japan games.
Yeah.
But Jason, you also mentioned that you have lots of baseball news to talk about. Does that mean we have a second main course?
A second main course, a good point. You know, I'd say the baseball news is a little bit light, but there's some warm stuff in there. So how about we'll call it a soup and salad course for our baseball corner. Yeah, so the biggest news is that Lee Jung-hoo has been placed on the 10-day injured list with a back strain. That's retroactive to his last game played last Tuesday. So he's going to be sidelined until this Friday at the earliest. But, you know, we'll see if he's able to come back in. A little bit sour, let's say, with his injury in terms of the timing, because he was on a 5-game hitting streak at the time. He's also had hits in 10 of his last 11 games, but hopefully he can get back quick and resume how his hitting was going after the injury. Meanwhile, a warmer, soupy story, let's say, has been the performance of Go-Suk. Holy cow. He had a terrible debut, allowing 3 earned runs while getting just 1 out back on March 29th. That was in AAA. He even got sent down to AA after his next outing. But since then, he has been lights out everywhere. 0 runs allowed in all of his April games, spanning 7 games. That's 12 2/3 innings, allowing just 5 hits, 4 walks, while striking out 19. He has been just as good. In May, since returning to AAA Toledo, he has thrown 11 innings in 6 games. Again, 0 runs allowed, just 2 hits, 2 walks, while striking out 15. My goodness, the way that he has been going, he definitely deserves to be called up to Detroit at some point. Remember, his Korean team, the LG Twins, they went across the Pacific to talk with him, to plead with him a couple of weeks ago to say, hey, we just lost our closer. You know, you want to kind of throw away this pipe dream and come back and help us out? He decided, nah, you know, even though I got sent down to AA, I'm going to keep going at this. I'm going to plug away. Look at how he's been going the last couple of weeks. I'm sure the LG Twins are kind of like from abroad going, oh, I guess we're not going to see him. And let me admit also that at the start of the baseball season, I made a prediction that I thought Go-Suk would return to Korea at some point for the LG Twins. Let me humbly say that not only do I believe that I was wrong, I think the way he's pitching right now, I think it's going to be very soon, in the next little bit, that he makes his Major League debut for the Detroit Tigers. Perhaps even in the next month before the All-Star break, we'll have to see.
A new prediction there.
A new prediction, yeah. He has been nuts. He's been lights out.
Wow, so great to hear that he's doing amazing. And you did mention in our little appetizer there that there's some new names that you want to mention also in baseball as well. So who are they?
Yeah, a couple of names that you might not have heard of just yet. Let's start with Park Chun-min, who is a 17-year-old high school pitcher at Gwangju Jail High School. They're known to be a baseball producing machine, by the way. He was just just signed by the Philadelphia Phillies for $1.2 million. That's American money, by the way. And this is significant for a number of reasons. First off, the 2026 international signing period started in January, and his bonus is now the biggest ever given to a pitcher so far this year. Secondly, Philadelphia had to make multiple trades in order to acquire the extra $750,000 to reach that $1.2 million of international spending. So this obviously shows how much they value Park Chun-min and what they think his future is going to be. And why did they do that? Because the KBO draft is coming up, and by signing him now, he will forego the draft, so he is committed to the Phillies. Now, let's remember, he's probably 5 or 6 years away from making a major league debut, and that's probably in an ideal situation. So we'll have to wait and see if everything goes as planned, but certainly based on potential, the future is very bright. Remember that name, Park Chun-min? Keep that in your back pocket. One more guy that I want to briefly mention is Keston Hiura. He was recently signed by the Kium Heroes as their foreign hitter to replace Trenton Brooks, who just hasn't been working out for them. Hiura, meanwhile, he was a big-time prospect for the Brewers back in the day and had more than a cup of coffee in the majors. So I'd say he's probably now the most established former Major League Baseball player to be playing in Korea now. So big-time player. Remember that name when you go out to the stadium to check him out because, yeah, he had quite a established Major League career.
All right. Keston Hiura and Park Chun-min. I made note of that. Okay, Jason. And before we wrap up things with the final bill, how about some dessert? You earlier mentioned Kim Si-woo, and that probably we would assume that means that he had a high finish on his PGA Tour. But I also do remember that you said he didn't get the final bite. Yeah,
you know, dessert's supposed to be sweet, and there's some sweetness in this, but you could say there's a little bit of bitterness on this story as well. That's because Kim Si-woo held the second and third round leads at the Byron Nelson, and you know what? He even played fantastic in the final round as well. He shot a 6-under 65, should have been good enough to win, but Wyndham Clark started the final round 2 strokes behind Kim. He fired a blistering 11-under 60. That gave him a 3-stroke victory, and it left Kim Si-woo with his second runner-up finish of the year. That's his 7th top 10 finish of the year, though. So, hey, still a great year so far for Kim Si-woo, but I guess you could say for this tournament anyways, he didn't get to make his cake and eat it.
You know, sometimes in sports, you can do almost everything right, but yet there's someone who just does it a tiny bit better.
It's crazy how it happens. And like I said, second time for Kim Si-woo, finishing second this year. But like I said, 7 top 10 finishes. I said earlier in this year when he was on that streak that he's due for a win. I actually thought, okay, this is it. I said like 2 months ago he's due for a win. It's finally here, and it didn't happen. But hopefully in the next little while, it'll come.
Let's cross our fingers. Well, thank you, Jason, for that full-course sports menu today, and we're looking forward to next time.
Sounds
good. Thank you, Jason.
And thank you, Bella, as always. We're going to see you back here later this week.
Yes, I'll see you back soon.